Good morning, children. A very warm welcome to all of you. Today, we'll be taking up another chapter from your English Reader book, and the name of the lesson is Lesson 5, Jack and the Beanstalk. Children, this story is about a boy who angers his mother by selling their cow Daisy not for money but for magic beans. So, what happens to him, we'll find it in the story. So, children, let's start reading the text. Once upon a time, there lived a poor woman who had a son named Jack. She was ill, and Jack was too young to work. Almost all their belongings had been sold to buy food. There was nothing left worth selling. They had an old cow named Daisy whom they were very fond of. Children, look at this word, belongings. It means things that you own, that belongs to you because it is your property. Second is worth. It means value or price of something in terms of money. Next is fond of, is liking something or someone. So children, this story is about an old woman who was ill and she lived with her only son named Jack in a small cottage. And children, the mother was not in a good health, so she could not go out to work and earn money. And Jack was too young to work. So children, almost all their belongings, their things were sold off to carry on with their daily basic needs. Now there was nothing left that they could sell and earn money. Until at last they were left with an old cow Daisy whom they were very fond of. One day Jack's mother said, "Jack, go to the market and sell our cow or we shall have nothing to eat." So the next day, with a heavy heart, Jack left for the market to sell their beloved Daisy. For some time he went along very sadly, but on seeing the hustle bustle at the market, he quite recovered his spirits. Now, children, beloved, it means dearly loved. Hustle bustle, it means the movement, a large amount of work or movement in a busy area, in a noisy area. So children, the next day Jack with a very heavy heart means that he was very sad to sell the cow, but there was no other option left, so he left for the market with a cow. On the way he was very sad, but the moment he reached the market and when he saw the hustle bustle of the market, when he saw the noise, the movements, the activities going on in the market, he was happy again. He quite recovered his spirit, children. It means that he became happy again. He stood in a corner and started calling out, who will buy my cow?" A few farmers looked at Daisy and said, "Oh, the cow is too thin and old." Now children, then he stood in a corner and then he started shouting, "Who will buy my cow?" The farmers of that market, they came near to Jack and when they looked at cow, they said the cow was too thin and old, and so they were not willing to buy the old and thin cow Daisy. Jack was disappointed as no one came forward to buy his cow. When at last he met a farmer who looked over the cow and he was eager to buy it. Jack asked him, "How much will you buy it for?" The farmer said, "I do not have any money, but I have a handful of magic beans. Would you like to exchange your cow for them?" Now children, disappointed, it means sad. Okay, so eager, it means excited. Exchange, it means in return. Okay, interchange. So Jack was very sad. He was not happy and he was feeling he was sad that no one was coming forward to buy his cow. But after some time, he met a farmer who was ready to buy his cow, Daisy. He looked at the cow carefully and then he was willing to buy that cow. Jack asked him that how much money will he give him in exchange of that cow. Then the farmer told Jack that he did not have any money, and instead of money he had a handful of beans. And those beans were not any ordinary beans, they were magic beans. And he told Jack that he would like to exchange those beans for the cow. At first, Jack thought the farmer was joking, but the farmer had a kindly expression on his face. He said, "These are not ordinary beans. They are the most wonderful beans that ever were known. If you plant them tonight, by tomorrow morning they'll grow up and reach the sky." For some reason, Jack could not refuse him, so he sold the cow for a handful of beans. Now children, expression, it means the look on someone's face. Wonderful, it means extremely good. Refuse, it means to say no, deny. Handful, it means a small quantity or amount, small in number. So children, when Jack asked him that how much money he will give him in exchange of that cow, then the farmer told Jack that he didn't have any money, and instead of money he had a handful of beans, and those beans were not any ordinary beans, they were magic beans. And he told Jack that he would like to exchange those beans for the cow. So initially Jack could not believe him. He thought that the farmer was joking. But then when the farmer told him that the beans were no ordinary beans and they were magic beans, and he told them that if he sow them in the ground in the night, by morning the beans will grow into a big beanstalk. So somehow Jack could not refuse the farmer. He could not say no to him. And he gave his cow to the farmer and took the handful of beans. So children, let's revise the vowels which we have learned till now. First is belongings. Belongings, it means possessions. Okay, things that you own, that belongs to you because it is your property. So worth, it means of any value in terms of money. Next is fond of, it means liking a person or thing. Beloved, dearly loved. Hustle bustle, it means a large amount of noise and activity. Next we have eager. Eager is excited. Refuse, to say no. Exchange, in return, interchange. So let's read the next paragraph, children. Alas, when he got home, his mother was furious and she screamed, "You silly boy, what shall we eat tonight?" Angrily, she threw the beans out of the house. There was no food to eat that night and both of them slept hungry. Now children, furious, it means angry. Okay? Then screamed, it means to cry out loudly in a loud voice. So children, when he came home, his mother asked him how much money did he get. But when she came to know that Jack had sold the cow without taking any money and he had just got a handful of beans in return of the cow, Jack's mother was very angry. She was furious, and out of the anger she threw the beans out of the window. And since there was nothing to eat in the house and Jack didn't bring any money in exchange of the cow, so both the mother and the son, they had to sleep hungry that night. Jack woke up next morning to find his room dark. He jumped out of bed and ran to the window to see what the matter was. The sun was shining brightly outside, but beside his bedroom window there was a giant beanstalk which seemed to reach the sky. So children, Giant, it means huge. So now in the morning when Jack woke up, what did he see? He saw that his room was dark, and he jumped out of the bed to find out as why the light was not coming in the room though the sun was shining brightly outside. So children, what did he see? He saw out of the window that there was a giant huge beanstalk out of the bedroom window which was blocking the sunlight entering into his room. The beanstalk was so big, it was so huge that it seems to touch the sky. He called out, "Mother, look at this giant beanstalk." His mother came to the window and said, "Of what use will this be to us? Chop it off. We can use it as firewood." Chop, children, means cut. So children, Jack called his mother and said, "Mother, look at the giant beanstalk." His mother looked at the beanstalk and said, "It is of no use to us. So you just chop it off. You cut the beanstalk and the wood will get from the beanstalk that can be used as firewood." But Jack did not listen to his mother's words and thought, "I'll just see where it leads to." And with that, he stepped out of the window onto the beanstalk and began to climb upwards. He climbed higher and higher till their cottage looked a mere speck below. Now children, leads to, it means where it goes. Okay. Next is mere. Mere, it means only. Last is speck. Speck is small mark or piece. So cottage, it means small house. Okay. So both mother and Jack, they lived in a small cottage, in a small house. So Jack, he did not listen to his mother and he was just wondering as where this big giant beanstalk leads to. So children, what he did, without listening to his mother, from the window he climbed onto the beanstalk and climbed higher and higher, and he reached such a height from where his house looked a small speck below. So children, that was the story. So let's revise the wow words. Furious, it means very angry. Screamed, it means to cry out loudly in a high voice. Next is giant, it means huge. Cottage, it means small house. Mere, it is only. Speck, small mark or small piece. That's all children. So your homework is that please read the chapter, go through the chapter. So thank you children. Stay healthy, stay safe.